Imagine this. You're on a cruise ship for a whole week enjoying your time. It's very cold out. You are having a fun time dancing, but all of a sudden you feel the ship jerk. Everyone ignores the jerk and continues to dance. Now, you were just told the ship had hit an iceberg and to stay calm. But of course, everyone starts panicking and screaming. You are now informed the ship is sinking into the Atlantic Ocean and will be underwater in a couple of hours. There aren't enough lifeboats for everyone to be saved. What do? Well, this is exactly what happened when the Titanic sank. Throughout this speech, I will be talking about the Titanic and what happened on that specific night. First, let's talk about the Titanic itself. I did some research and found a website called historyofthetitanic.org. It stated that the Titanic took 3 years to complete the construction of an 882-foot long and 92-foot wide ship, and Harland and Wolff were in charge of it. It was 25 stories high and weighed 46,000 tons. Here's a picture of the Titanic under construction. I also found an article on TitanicFacts.net. It stated that the ship could carry 3,547 people. It cost $7,500,000 to make it. It had 4 restaurants, 2 barbershops, 2 libraries, but that's not all. It also had a gymnasium and even a swimming pool. This article also stated that the Titanic was equipped to carry 64 lifeboats, but only 20 were aboard. Though Harland and Wolff claimed that it never advertised that the Titanic was unsinkable, a brochure certainly said that the Titanic was designed not to sink. By April 2nd, 1912, the ship was ready to set sail. Now, let's talk about the Titanic's voyage. I went to umforyou.org, which brought me to an article from Britannica Academic Edition. This article was called Titanic. It stated that the ship set out to sail on April 10, 1912, traveling from Southampton, England to New York. Here is a picture of the finished Titanic. The ship was nicknamed the Millionaire Special, and here's also a picture of the voyage. The ship was fittingly captained by Edward J. Smith, who is shown here. He was known as the Millionaire's Captain because of his popularity with wealthy passengers. On the morning of April 11th, the ship made its last scheduled stop in Ireland. At approximately 1:30 p.m., the ship set sail for New York City. On board were some 2,200 people. Now, let's talk about the frightening night when the ship sank. In the article, The Sinking of the Titanic, from historyofthetitanic.org, the Titanic had been receiving a series of wireless telegrams from other ships, warning the Titanic about icebergs. Unfortunately, the ship's crew members ignored the seriousness of the warning, and the Titanic proceeded traveling at full speed so they would reach New York ahead of schedule. It was Sunday, April 14th, when the Titanic was 300 miles from its destination of New York City. It was 11:40 p.m. when the ship hit an iceberg, putting 6 holes into it. All passengers were in great panic because there were only 20 lifeboats aboard. Therefore, women and children were saved first. According to this article, the Titanic snapped in half at 2:18 a.m. Here's a picture of the Titanic being snapped in half. And 2 minutes later, at 2:20 a.m. on April 15th, the Titanic was completely underwater. This is the location of where the Titanic went underwater. The Titanic lies 12,600 feet at the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean. Striking the water was like 1,000 knives being driven into one's body. The temp was 28 degrees, 4 degrees below freezing, said Charles Latoller, Titanic's second officer and survivor. The water was very freezing, but thankfully 706 passengers and crew members survived. These are the recent pictures of Titanic that is underwater right now. The last topic I will be talking about is the new Titanic II. According to the website historyofthetitanic.org, an exact replica of the Titanic is getting ready to be built by Clive Palmer and will be setting sail in 2016 and is expected to weigh 65,000 tons. Here's a picture of what the new Titanic II will look like and a picture of the builder Clive Palmer. Palmer said 40,000 people have expressed interest in tickets with offers of $1 million or more for the maiden voyage, taking the exact course from Southampton, England to New York City. One of the benefits of global warming is there hasn't been as many icebergs in the North Atlantic these days, Palmer said. The Titanic is something no one will ever forget. it made history and was such a tragic time. Throughout this speech, you've learned some pretty interesting facts about the Titanic and its voyage. You've also learned how and when the Titanic sank. But one of the things I found most interesting is that they're coming off the Titanic 2. I think that this is very amazing, and when it set sail in 2016, it is also going to go down in the history books. The Titanic is very remarkable, and I know that no one will ever forget this time in our history.